Go.
What?
Welcome once again to our Everybot meeting. I did mean to switch it up a little and have Wednesdays. I'm just not able to do that, or I wasn't able to do that this week. So hopefully in a future session. So once again, let's welcome everyone, and maybe we could just go around and have a brief introduction because we have some new friends on the call here. We'll start with Vishal.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Vishal Ramdar. I'm a mentor for 746 and 8574.
Nice. Okay. Oh, 8574. Okay, that's great. So welcome on our call, and we turn to Peter.
Yeah, hi, I'm Peter Baxter. I'm the, I guess, the lead teacher for Team 746, and I'm the tech head for Westview Centennial Secondary School.
Excellent. Nice to meet you, Peter. And there's another Peter.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which one you wanted here. Okay, Peter Gavar from Six Nations Polytechnic STEAM Academy. We did a rebuild last year. We didn't participate, but we did the Everybot project, and
Nice.
we competed at Stemley Cup with it. So my main goal in being here is not so much that we're building the Everybot, but to continue to learn, see what the design characteristics are of this one, and learn about the Everybot. Maybe something we can apply to our design.
Great. And we continue with Cheryl. Oh, I think you're muted.
Why not? I like speaking to myself. I'm Cheryl Lewis. I am the mentor on 7712 Umoja.
Oh, nice to meet you again. And thank you for joining us, Cheryl. And we go to LT. I'm seeing LD is muted. If you can unmute, that's great. And otherwise, welcome, LD. We'll continue with Jeff.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Jeff. I'm the mentor for the team 6162, which is created by William, actually. So, great honor. And so I hope we can learn more from the Everybot. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And I see that QA is not able to talk at the moment. So welcome, QA, from Team 746. And we finish our introductions with Yusuf.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm the team mentor for Cyber Squad 6977.
Great, and welcome, Yusuf. Very glad you're here. And we now have a new participant, Mike. Welcome to Mike. So, oh, we're not hearing from Mike. Okay, so welcome. Our as per our communication, our call tonight is focusing on getting the teams ready for the Everybot quick build, which will be taking place at Studica. I'm just going to place the link to the sign up here in our chat. And here's the link. And if you haven't already filled this in, you may do this. One member per team can fill this in for the teams. And the whole point of this is that our concept is we're going to have 3 groups of 3 teams who have signed up for the Everybot. Join us at Studica on either Friday evening, the 3rd of February from 6 to 9. I just put this here. Maybe I'll just share this here. We can actually see it on the form. Let me just share my screen. The 3 time slots here are Friday, February 3rd from 6 to 9, Saturday, February 4th from 9 a.m. to 12, or Saturday, February 4th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And those 3-hour slots are available to all of the teams to sign up. We've had 2 people sign up on the form so far. And we also have a few people who have verbally signed up. They just haven't used the form yet. So just looking here at our agenda for the evening, if there are any updates from the teams, you can let me know. Maybe we will put this at the end, as we've just had some introductions. I just wanted to go through a summary of the quick build and what to bring and make sure that we have this. And maybe if there are any updates from the teams, we'll finish with that. So I'm just rearranging the agenda a little. Our summary is here. It's going to be located at Studica, and you may choose a time slot as per that survey that was sent out. Each team will get a 3-hour session. And so in those 3 hours, we're not planning to build the entire Everybot. But what we are trying to do is provide each team with an opportunity to make sure they have a strategy and a clear pathway to finishing the Everybot. To prepare for that, there are several things that we may consider. So in my email, I sent out a set of videos, and there's some really great videos that have been completed by First in Michigan. And I may be able to just pull up a sample of these for the moment. First in Michigan.
Did you place a link? And can you place a link?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll put that in there. The links are also in the videos that were sent out. Oops, sorry about that. Just let that advertisement play out. And there we are. So here's a sample link to the main page for the Everybot build. And there's a whole set of videos here. And let me just share my screen once again. Here's an example, the bill of materials for our build. And if I go back, we also have the arm. And there's a whole set of videos there. The rules, building the chassis, and bill of materials, and so on and so on. So it's quite a very nice, really detailed set of instructions. This is invaluable. And this is useful for not only the Everybot teams, any team might benefit from these, as the chassis, building the chassis applies to pretty much everyone. And just the techniques that they're showing in the building and assembling the superstructure are really great. The motor installation, all of it, and really, really detailed step by step. So this is the first sort of expectation or hope that the teams who are going to participate in the quick build will have had their members review these materials and at least complete the drive base, so that you have something you guarantee you're going to be in the competition. Once you have a working drive base, you're going to be in the competition for sure. And then during our quick build, we will focus on building the superstructure that attaches to the drive base and get you far enough along that you will see a pathway to finishing it. And there we have it. These are just invaluable, and I hope that you're able to take advantage of these videos here. So that is the one of the pieces of the preparation. So what to bring? So it would be good for all the teams to have a complete drive base. And the reason we do that, well, that's the first prerequisite to getting in the competition. It gives you a something to which you may attach that which you build on it at our quick build. And then the next important set of things to bring, the build materials, especially the aluminum extrusions, Lexan, and hardware. So the aluminum extrusions and Lexan, if you signed up and for the Everybot in the the Everybot quick build, and that was maybe about 10 days ago when everyone did. If you already signed up for it in the original survey that was sent around, then we've already made these for you and they're going to be ready for pickup next week. If you did not sign up in the original sign up for the Everybot program, then you'll need to make sure you have these prepared. And I've already spoken to a few teams who have joined the Everybot subsequently and are making provisions to have these aluminum extrusions prepared and the Lexan prepared. So that's for our build materials, what to bring. And then tools. We do have tools at Studica, and we do have band saws and drill presses and things like this. But bringing your own tools will make sure that you focus your time on just building your robot. And one of the things that we've seen in the videos, and it was quite interesting, excess clamps. If you have clamps, bring them. If you don't have clamps, it would be a very good use of your time to procure some and to bring them to the quick build. The excess clamps will help us to get that perfect angle. And they say measure twice and cut once. With the Everybot, when it comes to the angles of the various metal pieces going together, you can't measure too many times, as you want to get that perfect. And if you can get the rivets and the gusset plates and the aluminum rods all perfectly lined up, you're much further ahead. Your robot will look better, but not only that, it will behave better on the competition field. So that's our sort of list of what to bring. The tools you will see in the videos, and they will include various things like wrenches and on all of this. And it's the basic tools you're using in your workshop. Excess tools is good to bring as well. And we will maybe send out a more detailed list before you get there. So I just wanted to make sure that you have this on your radar to get all of these things in place to get your robot base complete as soon as possible, to assemble all of your build materials. And either we're going to give you the Lexan and aluminum extrusions, or you need to get it. And then also the hardware that goes along with the bill of materials. It's not as urgent for next weekend to have all of the motors and sensors and other parts that go to the Everybot, as we're building the superstructure next weekend. So there's our what to bring. And of course, there are some links to the Everybot there. So now I would like to hear from each team as to what any of your challenges may be. And I'm also going to speak a little bit about our Southwestern Ontario Everybot build. And maybe I'll speak with Jeff a little bit after our call, just to make sure that we have something in place for Southwestern Ontario.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, now we might be able to open it up and have any questions that you may have about how to sign up, what you should bring, what your particular challenges may be, anything you may need. And this is a great time to network with anyone who's on the call and make sure that you have everything in place.
I have my hand up. You can't see.
Oh, sure. Oh yeah, thank you, Yusuf.
Yeah, I noticed in the Everybot, we're supposed to buy parts from Rev. Some of the stuff is from Rev.
Yeah.
And I contacted Studica, and I thought, because in the past they were able to, have Rev robotics, but they don't have that now. I'm just wondering, does anybody know this in this call? Does anyone know a supplier where we can buy Rev robotics parts?
There's a Rev Canada.
TDSB supplier?
There is Rev Canada that I ordered some stuff from.
Have you contacted Rev Canada?
I can do that. I haven't done that. I'm just wondering, anyone know if they're a TDSB supplier? Because they could be there, but if they're not TDSB supplier, then I'm kind of stuck. If there's anyone from TDSB on the call here.
Whoa. That's an interesting phenomenon, as FRST Robotics has been in the TDSB since 1998.
Well, it's vendors, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
every board has approved vendors, and so
Yeah.
and First Canada or First Robotics is an approved vendor, but we're not selling anything. So and that one is Rev Robotics in Ontario and Canada. That's actually relatively new. It's down on Yonge Street in Thornhill, I believe, the location, or it was when they started a couple of years back. But so yeah, I don't know what the vendors are from
But it
TDSB.
used to be Studica until recently,
Yeah.
before the pandemic.
So if you have access to the bill of materials from the Everybot people, there's a new tab at the bottom of it, and it's Canadian stuff. So I've added that in there, and some of the parts that were listed as being from a variety of sources, including Andy Mark, Studica had some of those, so I put those links in there, so you can check to see if something like that's there. Obviously, you've talked to them, users, so you know the part that you're looking for is not there, but there are some in there that I was surprised that Studica did have, but they, to the best of my knowledge, I can't recall them selling Rev parts recently. But they do have lots of the Andy Mark parts that are on the bill of materials from.
Yeah. I got the Andy Mark. Yeah. Okay. So I'll check Rev and just see if they're a TDSB supplier. Hopefully they are. That's what I was wondering, if anyone else here has ordered from them, from TDSB.
So I was talking to William about that same issue, and also Matthew at Studica.
Yeah, I was talking to Matthew. Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out, I'm not going to buy all these Neos and all the Neo motor controls and all that stuff. We're trying to find Andy Mark. So right now I'm stuck for the 90-degree gearbox and the planetary set. And we're trying to figure out, I don't know how to do the math, I'm sorry, but apparently there's something to do with the RPM on the motor and how you set up the planetary gear set combination. That's the issue William and I were discussing, and I gotta imagine that's still an issue right now. So we know where to go buy the parts. I mean, Andy Mark is in Mississauga. I think it's Mississauga. At least they're local. Rev, as far as I know, I have no idea. The last I heard, Rev doesn't take school POs. So I don't know how that's going to work out for us at TDSB. But I mean, if I can get this planetary gear set and the 90-degree gearbox from Andy Mark in Mississauga, I'll just use my own credit card. I don't care. But I just want the parts on site so I can finish this, right?
Yeah.
I also screwed up because I didn't know I needed 30 little green balls. But at this point, I'm thinking with the Everybot, I'd like to change the end of that lever and make a grabber instead of that big roller thing. And it can't be that hard to make a grabber and switch it out. But I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking the whole thing.
I had given some thought to your situation with the motor, and basically you're going to need a less of a reduction. And there's a trade-off between safely being able to lift up the Everybot arm reliably 100% of the time, but that will be slow. And then approaching the limits as to what the motor can do, achieving it more quickly, but also risking having the motor jam. And yeah, right now there's a 75-to-1 reduction in that one motor there. And if I'm correct with that, like a lower reduction on the motor, something like 40 or 60-to-1 is probably in there. 60 would be safer and 40 would be more ambitious. But I just want to double check that I started with the right motor reduction, because I just realized there may be a second one and I may have looked at the wrong one in the bill of materials. So
are we talking about, see, this is the thing, I need to know what motor to order to combine with whatever gear train from whom. That's the issue I'm having, because I don't recognize the parts that you guys do. I haven't done this enough.
Actually, you have the red line motor though, don't you?
Well, so I was going to use the one red line and the 1 4-to-1 gearbox that I have to build the intake arm, but now I'm thinking I don't want to build that intake arm. I can't stand it. It just bothers me. But either way, if I have to build it with the 30 green balls, then I've got to use the one, whatever you call it, the motor with the red band and the 4-to-1 gearbox for that, right?
Yes, 4-to-1. That one, that's your 4-to-1 gearbox, right?
Yeah, so I have that red, what do you call it? Anyway, whatever that red tag motor is, and the gearbox in a little Andy Mark box that I guess Bill ordered years ago, and it's just never been used. So I have a brand new one of those, as far as I can tell, sitting there, which is what it looked like Andy Mark used when they built the Everybot, that $700 piece that they put out. Matthew emailed me a picture of it. So Andy Mark's built an intake system, or whatever you want to call it, with the 30 balls that you could buy for like $700 and some odd dollars US, right?
Oh, yes.
And that had one of those motors with the red band and a 4-to-1 Andy Mark planetary on it.
Okay, so that, and it all depends on the system you're using. I'm not familiar with that one. I've always used Vex Pro products on my own things. So is that one that's stackable? Like the 4-to-1 can stack onto a planetary system. It also has like a 10-to-1 or a 5-to-1 to make it.
No, this one looks like it's, well, it may stack. I don't want to say no. I haven't taken it out of the box, but it's definitely a 4-to-1 with one of those motors we talked about with the red band around it.
Okay.
That part I have, but you know, at the same time, I'm thinking, you know, I don't know that I want to do 30 green balls and 4 shafts. Like, there's got to be an easier way to pick these pieces up than that.
You're talking about the rollers, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
On the intake piece, like I'd rather do something else instead of build that, because with the Lexane and all that, there has to be an easier way to pick these pieces up than doing that.
I see. So there's that will be a decision to do.
The other one, William, the other concern, the real concern I have, like, well, I have a lot of concerns because I really don't know what I'm doing, but the other one, the gear set that you said, the 75-to-1 and that 90-degree.
Yeah.
I agree. We should be able to get something from Vex, but if I'm not using those Neo motors, then you said I have to be careful how we change the gear ratio. So I'm just trying to figure out what to order there. I just don't want to get stuck for a part that's going to take 2 weeks to come, and then we just don't have it together, right?
Well, one of the safest things is, and this is what I always did, even though we did the calculations, we always got a few extra gear stages just in case, because it doesn't take that long to switch them out. And if I were going to do it, and I just double checked it is the right motor, the 75-to-1 hooks up to that 90-degree sort of shaft, so that it can, that's the part that's lifting the whole arm mechanism. And I would get something between 40 and 60. Ideally, the 40-to-1 will work because it'll work with the RPMs to get you a similar speed of lifting. But the 60-to-1 is like a safety. It's going to work kind of thing. So I would get several stages and just test them. I would start with the most ambitious one. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't, then switch out until I get one that works and within a reasonable amount of time.
And we're going to apply that to what motors should I order? Like, if you could later on maybe send me an email with the link to these parts so I can go.
Yeah, I'll do that later. I was basing that on our conversation yesterday, and I was basing that on the fact that you said you already had a Redline motor.
Yeah, I think I have at least one. I might have 2.
Okay.
So it's a Redline motor. That's what you call it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can continue that. I'll see if I can get that back to you. Yeah.
Yep.
Great. So these are the kind of issues that we're working out, because each team has a different situation. So I'm just hoping that this is now an open discussion to support any of these situations like we're hearing here. Maybe I'll just go around as we have. Yeah, it seems that everyone's okay. I just might like to ask then of each team just to see where everyone is at. I'll start with Vishal. Did you say you're on team 746 as well?
Yes.
Yes. And so how is Team 746 doing? Are you hoping to participate in the quick build, or are you just following the Everybot? And what is your situation right now?
I'm only able to like be in the school about like 2, maybe 3 days a week if I'm lucky. One of my concerns is like getting exact measurements for like cuts. Like, would have there been like any like points of like tolerance for like
Yes.
cuts? Because like I'm hesitant to like drill out some parts of like the superstructure or marking them in general or pre-cutting. And I haven't been really able to get like an answer if we could have like a point of tolerance on like how off we can be from the cuts if it's like necessary.
If you look at the Everybot videos, the build videos, and I'm wondering if I can pull one up here when he's actually doing some of this. I don't know if he did this in building the chassis. He's using a vernier caliper and he attaches it to the end of the beam or the extrusion. And then that's a fairly precise thing. And he marks it with the sharp part of the vernier caliper, and it makes a little line. And he's doing this as precisely as possible. This is not going to get you laser precision, but it's going to get you within reason. So I think taking as much care as possible, but not worrying about it being down to the micron will probably get you there. And these same videos from the First in Michigan are a really great resource. You don't have to watch all the 7 hours, for example. You can go to the part where you're working on and find out how they're doing it. So I was watching the part where he was cutting the chassis elements yesterday, and that's what I saw him doing. And I think that's a good sort of lead to follow. How does that sound?
Yeah. Could I chime in on that too?
Sure. Pete.
Yeah. What we did last year is we were able to get step files for most of the parts for the Everybot. And what we did is that we printed 1-to-1 scale images on our laser printer of the ends, where the holes are and so on, and then stuck it right onto the metal. Nice. And used center punch to mark the hole locations. We did pretty well with that. But one of the things you want to be sure of is that make sure a guy doesn't start drilling a 3/8 inch hole with a 3/8 inch bit. Start with a small pilot hole. The cuts that were made or the holes that were made with a large bit to begin with, they tend to wander a little bit, and those are the ones that were off.
Very good point. The first couple seconds of your drill, especially if you're not using a drill press, it is good to use a drill press, but even, the precision is much better with a smaller bit. Yeah. So you start with a smaller bit and then you finish it with a larger bit that's the size you need. That's a great suggestion, Peter. Thank you. And I like that idea of the pasting the paper printouts right on the side of the parts. That's a good idea as well. So that will get you as close as you're going to get. So I don't know if that's going to help you, Vishal, with your current question.
I think it'll help.
Good. Okay. Well, please feel free to continue reaching out. We have several mentors that are also willing to help, and we can arrange for you to speak with them by phone, or you can feel free to call me as well, and we can assess what you need, and we can see if we can put you in touch with other mentors as well, if you have additional technical questions.
All right.
So we'll continue along here. I know, Peter, you're not necessarily building the Everybot, but maybe you can just share with us where you're at and if there's anything you're looking to find out. Peter G, that is.
Yeah. With regards to our robot, we're focusing very much on the CAD at this point. We have an old chassis that we configured in the same dimensions as the chassis for this year. We built a gantry out of 1x2 wood, and some of the other structures out of wood, including the arm. Just to and of course we also built the grid elements so that we can actually, if you like, drive up our prototype or testbed robot to the actual field elements and make sure that our design parameters are good. That's something that may not be necessary for the Everybot because that's already been done by somebody else. And when we did the Everybot last year, we didn't feel confident enough to design one of our own. So you know, it's a step up for us now. We're actually designing our own, which is kind of nice. We're using a telescoping arm with a 50-bot telescoping mechanism, a gripper, and I posted a YouTube illustration of the gripper, a short animation of what it looks like and on shape.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
That's it's kind of a simple device. The bolt heads are unusually large, but they'd be flat against the two pans. The idea with the two pancakes is that you would grip, for example, a cone, and because a cone is bottom heavy, you can pick up a cone in any orientation, whether it's pointing away from you or towards you or standing up. Well, those three orientations, I should say. And when you lift it, it will want to right itself. So those pancakes are actually on a swivel, so they turn, and then the arm can articulate upwards, extend, and drop on whichever goal. So that's our intention. February the 3rd is when our second semester starts. Same for most of you guys, I guess. And when that starts, the grade 9s are going to be building the chassis. The grade 10s are going to be building the superstructure above the chassis. My grade 11 and 12 students that I just finished with, they did a lot of the design work for the superstructure. So we have, unfortunately, limited access to our robotics lab outside of class time. Nearly all of our kids travel by bus to our school. Buses arrive just before 9 and they leave just after the last class at the end of the day. So using class time and using FRC robotics as a way for the kids to learn about mechanical stuff and control systems and so on is a good approach. We do have 3D printing, and we're starting this year hopefully with CNC routing as well. So I'm hoping that some parts will still be fabricating by hand, and the way I described earlier, you know, putting the paper template on the material, marking, pilot hole, make it bigger kind of thing, and then other parts would be hopefully fabricated on the CNC router. So that's kind of our game plan. Our two competitions are in late March and on the weekend it spans March, April. Deliberately chosen to give us more build time.
Nice.
Strategically thinking, I think that for us was the best move at this point.
That's great, Peter. So some great resources you shared and some ideas that you shared there. We'll move on to Cheryl and Tony from 7712. How is your team and what is your current situation with respect to your Everybot build?
We are not quite as far ahead as we wanted to be. So the milestone for getting and qualifying for the quick build is what we're working on this weekend. So hoping to have access to York on Sunday as well. Yeah. And just a very long Saturday and Sunday to get it completed. Right. One of the questions that I asked Paul, and I wasn't too sure, I was going through the BOM and I was looking for the brushless motor. Yes. And it was unavailable, but I just pulled up Andy Marks and it's there. So there are three options when I try to order. And I don't know if you know the answer to this. No pinion, 15 tooth, 16 tooth. Do you know which one we would need?
Oh, can you share the link to that, or just so we can see which one you're looking at? It's on the Andy Mark site, is it?
Yeah, it's on. I picked it up from the BOM.
Okay, I'll take a look there then. I have that up here, and
because it wasn't available before, it was out of stock both US.
Is it gear or a motor?
It's the Neo brushless motor.
Oh, the Neo brushless. Okay, so the Neo 550.
Not the 550. Okay. The two of them. The other one. It's V1.1.
There we are. Here we are, Neo brushless motor. Sorry about that. Okay, and so you're at the Andy Mark 425-8A.
Yes.
Good. Now there's a choice. Someone. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 3 choices.
Okay. No pinion. 15 tooth.
And 62.
And for a CM Sport. Now let's see what we see from our bill of materials here and our build instructions. And any notes we have here. I'm going to guess that it's just the motor because there's going to be some kind of gearbox sort of attached to it. Let's see if we find which one this is. I know for sure the gearbox goes on one of the motors. And this one, the Max Planetary System, that's going to attach to one of the Neos. And that will take care of the other. On here's the Ultra Planetary Gearbox Kit. So those, oh, sorry, that one looks like it's on a different motor. But maybe it's attaching to our Neo. I think those are 2 gearboxes. There's only 2 motors, so those have to be them. Those 2 planetary gearbox kits are going to be that. Oh, and then there's Neo 550 Ultra Planetary Pinion. So there's that one. So if you order everything that's in the bill of materials, I believe you will get it. So I would order it separately. There's a link for this pinion. It's only Rev. And that's just an example. Just order everything that's in there. And because you're in the bill of materials here, it's only specifying the motor. I would just get the motor. I think everything else is going to get you what you need to attach to that motor.
So, but if I place the order, it's asking me for one of those 3 options.
So the first one, which is no pinion.
No pinion. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good. So that's great. And hopefully your build of your base will go well. And you can let us know if you would like to participate in the quick build in time.
Yes, I submitted the application for the quick build. Now, I just probably, a silly question. We signed up for the quick build. So all the cuts, are we going to get it at that point in time?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah. If you signed up before.
Yeah, I signed up at the very beginning.
Yeah. So if you signed up before, then we've made 9 sets. We've made 11 sets in total for all the 11 teams that ordered parts.
I didn't order parts, but
by signing up for the quick build.
Okay. And remuneration, how do we pay for it?
Let me just double check that. I should not.
Yeah, make sure I'm there.
Yeah, because there are many moving parts here. Let me just double check and see what your team has ordered. And $77.12 has ordered parts. Yes, you are among the teams for which I ordered parts.
Oh, fantastic. And as far as remuneration for those parts?
And the price for the parts?
Yeah.
They're going to be provided at cost, and we are working out the details of that, and we'll let you know at the quick build how that's
fantastic. Fantastic.
So
for the quick build, we just have 1 mentor, 2 students. That's it.
Yes.
That's the max?
Yes. Unfortunately, just the space that we have is a little limiting. It's a little bit cozy at Studica. I'm sure you can get more people in there, but you're going to spend more time bouncing off of people than actually getting work done.
Okay.
So
fantastic.
A quick question: will Studica have a practice field set up again? I think they did once before.
No, that's not in the cards. The only practice field that I know of in Toronto at the moment is with the team 1325, and I don't know if they've made a new one this year. And I haven't heard from them. I did ask all teams with the practice field to let me know. The only team that got back to me about the practice field was the team in Hamilton with the Robodrome, and you can contact them. Team 5406, for example, or 4039 can get you into the Robodrome. And that's the closest that I know. 1325, if anyone knows, maybe I can just put a link to their website here. Believe. inverse paradox. And I'm going to just put a link here in the Roland Singh. That's right. Thank you, Paul. And there's the link to their team. Last year, they had a full practice field near the airport in Toronto. And I went to see it. It was very nice. And that's the only GTA one that I was able to take a look at.
A question about the Everybot. I know that one of the things is being level on the charging station at the end of autonomous and end of the game. Is that a consideration in the design of the Everybot or not? I'm curious because we've not used any sensors for that kind of sensing, are we level or not, before, and I'm curious about that.
That one is very interesting because if you imagine 3 robots simultaneously trying to level, that's a very nonlinear dynamic system. And even if your sensor registers level, by the time you do something about that, then the other 2 robots will already have been reacting to something else. So that's a really interesting one. You might have to cooperate as a team and probably get 2 robots on there and let the third one do the balancing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the team captain would have to manage that.
So
the size of the robot was designed so that it could fit on with 2 other robots. So that was a big consideration that they put into it. So the fact that it's narrow is what we're talking about.
So I'm seeing here, and this is a common thing, that we're out of stock with the 550, for example. So far, I took a look at one of the motors and did a few calculations about what kind of gear ratios could work. The 775 motor is the one that I know the best, and I use that for the last several years, and it will probably do the heavy lifting. Maybe another motor would be used for the intake. So I'm going to see if I can reach out to a few people and send out to the Everybot team some stronger recommendations about alternative motors we could use, and then therefore which alternative gear sets would make those motors work. For example, I was doing this work on the red line motor, and it has 3 times the speed and twice the torque of the Neo motor that Peter was going to be using, but it's out of stock. So we'll see if we can get that as soon as possible. I'll try to get that by tomorrow because I see this is going to be an issue for a lot of teams. It should be that you're able to replace those motors on the Everybot with a suitable replacement as long as you have the right gear ratios. And that will really help. So it's always going to be a trade-off between being very safe. With a very high gear ratio, you're very safe, but it's going to take all day. But a lower gear ratio will be testing the edge of the motor, but will make the mechanism move more reliably or quickly. So we will do some work on that and see if we can get back to the teams as soon as possible. So that's great. We'll just continue along here. Just noting, I'll have another 12 minutes on Thursdays. I have another call that starts at 7. And if we don't get through everyone, I'm very glad to connect with you tomorrow by phone or anything like this. Continuing along to team 746. Or no, we were already talking with Vishal, and Kiwei has already said he's not available to speak. So I'll go to Mary Charles.
Good timing, Neil. Okay, I'm not going to tell you that I'm overwhelmed. I'm not going to say that. But I am.
Yeah.
But I am. So starting tomorrow, we're going to Neil McNeil tomorrow to build our chassis.
Nice.
Okay. We are using the regular motors on the chassis. Is that going to be an issue?
So regular motors being ones you already have in stock?
Yes.
So the only issue is if your motors are too different from the motors that are specified, you're going to need different gears in your gear reductions. And that's what I was speaking about.
But Mary, are you talking about The drive motors, the big.
The drive, yeah.
Oh yeah, the
those are
drive
same.
motors, everyone
Those are the
has those are the same. These are the two
Okay, good.
motors that are involved with either collecting items or raising or lowering the arm. They're just
Okay.
two motors aside from the regular drive motors, and your
Yes.
chassis just has the 4 standard sim motors, and everyone has those.
Very good.
So
So
that should be
right now, so William,
Yeah,
it's one step at a time for us.
good. That's
Right
perfect.
now,
Yeah.
we're just doing the chassis
Yeah,
so that we can come next week. And so once the chassis is complete,
yes.
then we can move on to like ordering all the other parts. I have not, to be honest, we have exams going on now.
Yes.
So I really have not spent a lot of time with my students trying to go through the materials, the build materials.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to get through the chassis. Our saving grace is that, and I don't know how much it's going to help, but we had an old robot where I'm just taking off the electrical panel and the Roborio off of that, and with
Yeah.
the spark motors. And I guess after once we have finished the chassis, then we can make whatever adjustments we need to. But you know, it's really just one step at a time, so that I don't throw in the towel.
That's excellent. That's a very good way to do it. If you get a chassis built, you have a robot that can make a difference on the field, even if you have just a rectangle. That's all.
No, I heard you talking in terms of there isn't any. I mean, like the reason we're going to need is because they have the band, so they have everything. So in terms, you know, we're just looking at cutting the 22 by 28. There isn't any big science behind that, and just putting it together as we normally would the regular chassis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah. Just make sure the right 22 and the right 28 are
right.
That's one of the sciences.
Okay.
Measure twice, cut once.
Yes. You know what? And even if we didn't cut it correctly the first time, we probably have some spare parts somewhere. That we can recut. But we're trying really not to, and hopefully tomorrow we're able to get through putting the chassis. Even if it's not tomorrow, we also have 3 other days carded with Neil next week. So fingers crossed that we're able to do it. And yes, we have signed up for the Studica build. So that's going to be good. And so sometime next week, I'll just look in terms of what we need to order, but I haven't ordered anything as yet.
And as you're speaking about the build, I'm very happy to announce that our last year's Studica build mentor, Thomas Steele, will be back. Thomas Steele is connected with numerous teams in Ontario, including 3739, where I got to meet him when I was part of 61.
That's Thomas out of Mary Ward.
Thomas Steele is the one out of Hamilton at the moment, originally.
Oh, Hamilton.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
the two Thomases were both helping out at the beginning of last year at events. So
okay, cool.
I understand the confusion there.
Yes. Yeah. So then we also have Jeff at 6162. I just have a question for you, Jeff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And would you be like your team has not yet created all the parts, have you?
Actually, we are working for the chassis, I think, from last week.
Good. And how about the aluminum extrusions and all of this? Have you made those yet?
That's okay. I think the kids, they can handle, it seems. So for the chassis, so far so good. I think they can complete that next week. Okay.
So are you interested in attending or organizing a quick build for Southwestern Ontario? If you are, we can speak about it. If you're okay, then that's all right. But if you would like to.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm not sure, at this moment, I mean, whether we need to order the parts or not.
Yes. Or you mean for the aluminum extrusions or for the rest of them?
I think wow. So Yeah, the aluminum extrusions and all the other parts. I mean,
Okay.
And yeah, I'm thinking. I'm unfortunate. I think we cannot attend as I indicated. We cannot attend the in-person quick build at Mississauga, right?
Well, that's why I was suggesting we may be able to
So
create
probably yes. I think we can talk to whether we can have a set. Oh, so that would be an online session, right? You mean for South?
No, a physical in-person session, but in London likely. And
Oh,
I
okay.
can speak with you about that. And I have a hub
Yeah.
team called 772 that's willing to help as well.
Well,
So,
I think that sounds great. Yeah.
good.
So maybe we can talk a bit later.
Yeah, we'll talk later because I think, most of the group is in the GTA area, but there are 3 teams in Southwestern Ontario and we can speak with you about possibilities.
Wow. Yeah, I think that would be great.
Good. So I'll try to connect with you later. I may have to do it tomorrow. I don't know if you're around tomorrow because I'm going to have another call starting soon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think we can talk maybe weekend, maybe later. Okay. And now, unfortunately, today I have to leave now to pick up my daughter. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shen.
Okay.
And
Okay. Thank you.
See you again. Okay. So I do see that there are 6 more mentors and/or students on the call. And I'm not sure if you represent one or multiple teams, as you're all new. Yash, Lorraine, C. Reed, Andy, LD, and Charlie. Are any of you might let us know which teams you represent, and have we covered your teams yet? So Yash is 746.
Charlie's from 746 as well.
Okay, so we have a lot of representation of 746, and good
representation of 7712.
746. And 712. Okay, so it seems like we've covered most of the teams. I didn't specifically ask Peter Baxter anything yet because we just had a conversation about the gear ratios before we started this round. So I was just going to give a chance to Peter Baxter to also chime in about any points of learning or support that we can offer before we switch gears to our next call.
Okay, so thanks for that, William. So really, I'm just relying on you on the motors and the gear sets and that gear box. I don't know where to find them. The other issue we had our chassis built already.
Yeah.
And during I couldn't figure this out, so I'm just going to get rid of it. But during testing, one of the center wheels was really wobbly. We took it apart, the gear set apart about 100 times, trying to figure out what we did wrong. Can't get it to work. So I'm just going to swap a drive mechanism off an old robot and hope that fixes it. I didn't know if anybody's ever run into that in terms of what I've already got done that failed. What would ever make a wheel wobble? I don't know.
If, like, for example, if it's something to do with the center wheel, there were a few things that might have caused that. Having one of the bearings not quite seated properly, one of the axles not making it all the way to the bearings. Using custom wheels is a very good way to have that happen. We had that happen when we didn't realize like the custom wheels we ordered were about 1/8 of an inch too wide. That was a big problem. So there are numerous things. Sometimes like a few photos might help to sort that out. But then again, you can also look at the step-by-step chassis build from the Michigan crew and see if it all aligns with how your particular chassis is. So you might want to just take it apart and just see if there's something not quite fitting into something else, it's going to make it wobbly. That's usually an indication of like an axis not being constrained at both ends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one of the things that's different with the center axle now is center axle at the outside end of the chassis is round. It used to be hex shaped, so make sure that it's the bearing that is provided that is used there, not the hex bearing.
There we go. So there's another one.
Okay, I didn't think of that. We took it apart and went over the thing, the chassis build piece of the instruction manual. Like we took it apart, I don't know, Vishal, probably 6 times the other night, making sure we had everything in the right spot. We just couldn't get it to work. So finally I figured, I looked down at an old robot and said, okay, when we come back into the shop, we'll just haul the one off of there and try that, because we really had our chassis sort of built and squared up and, you know, a good start, like, and then we had a wobbly wheel. But anyway, that was just a question. The other stuff is I have the same concerns that have already been mentioned. So I know we're all working as a group to fix those problems. And
Great.
I'm just counting on, I just want to make sure I get the parts on time, but
Okay.
we have been working on it. It's just, you know, whatever.
That's great. So thank you so much. And it's really great to see everyone this evening. And I hope that you'll please feel free to reach out. I'm going to try to get some good feedback on the using other motors. In general, you can use other motors as long as you have the right gear ratio and those motors are powerful enough to replace the ones that you're supposed to be using in the bill of materials. So that's in general, the specific statement, maybe we can come up with a few. If you might email me with the motors you have or are considering using, I could give some feedback on that. So I will be very glad to do a little research on that and run it by a few mentors so we have a good, well-reasoned recommendation for everyone. So hopefully one way or another, we'll solve the problems of the bill of materials in a time of supply chain shortages, which is just another way of solving problems in the world of robotics. There's always a way around, we just have to find it. So with that, I think I will conclude our meeting and really look forward to seeing you in just over a week.